All right, so here we go. This is part 2, and this will be recorded. If for some reason you can't stick around, it's no problem at all. Let us move on. I love this. I love this dialogue. So we took a look on the web, and I want to also, we've been talking for quite a while about personal regime, about doing your DNA to help determine your supplement requirements, but it's absolutely not required. You can go in and do your health assessment with or without your DNA. That's up to you. And do your online HIPAA protected health report, determine your own personalized regime. If for some reason, I can't think of a reason, but if for some reason you don't want to do that and you're just ready to get something to help augment your immune system, in this current climate, ID Life has gone one step ahead, and they have an immune support pack. So they've reviewed the literature that I just reviewed with you, and they've got an immune support pack, which is going to have in it the D, the C, the zinc, the N-acetylcysteine, and most of the other things that we've talked about. So anything scientifically linked in the recent literature to augmenting immune support is in the immune support, and it's currently buy one, get one free. And on the top there, get my dna.idlife.com. I have shown you that where Jana's website is, and that is also where you can go do your health assessment. I'm going to, while we're on this topic, actually I'll do it at the end. So who can you trust for your ID Life or for your supplementation? ID Life, obviously, but why? Why have I, as a medical doctor, gone out of my way to find a company that I trust? It's because ethically for me, it was more important to be able to share a regime that I could trust than send people to get something over the counter. And here's why. The New York Times did a study that was published around 2015, and the New York Times reported on it. It was in a peer-reviewed journal. I can get you the specific reference, but ultimately what they did was they had a company out of Canada, which was really cool, that did DNA testing on supplements on the shelves at Target, Walgreens, GNC, Walmart. And they found that 4 out of 5 of those nutrients on the shelf had no active ingredients. And what was in them, if they weren't the active ingredients listed on the label, what was actually in them? They found asparagus, houseplants, wheat, soy, house dust, those kinds of things. So that to me was pretty scary. When I want to put a patient on something I know she needs for her health, I don't want her going to the store over the counter and getting something that has nothing in it or potentially something harmful. So I want you to understand quality of nutrients. There's 4 categories. Category 1 is basically agricultural. Category 2 is cosmetic or nutritional grade. So this is what's sold in health food stores, but it's not medical grade. It is alters and has variability in absorption, dissolution, concentration, and purity. It is good, decent quality, but you don't necessarily know what you're getting. And then there's medical grade, which is higher quality, but again, not all the same in terms of absorption, dissolution, concentration, purity, etc. And then there's pharmaceutical grade. ID Life is pharmaceutical grade. The other thing I want to share in terms of pharmaceutical grade is, and this is a little bit of a behind the scenes look at the medical system. This is the big reveal for you all that are here, is that as a medical doctor, if I'm going to sell something pharmaceutical grade, I have to mark it up by 100%. In other words, if I buy something for $25, I have to sell it to you for $50. And that didn't sit well with me ethically. ID Life is not like that. There's a small increase that would basically offset costs and expenses, but it's not a gouge to the patients or to the people that I serve, and it sits so much better with me in terms of my heartfelt treatment of patients. And no problem, Elizabeth, no problem. We'll make sure you get the recording. Take care of yourself. We're so glad that you were able to join us. Really, really glad you came. And we'll make sure that you join it, or that you get the recording, no problem. So what do you want to ask when you're looking for the right supplement company? You want to look at the grade, you want to look at the purity, the bioavailability. In other words, what's the sense in taking it if it's not going to be bioavailable to your cells? Third-party verification. In other words, if it says it has 500 milligrams of vitamin C in it, does it actually? It has to be verified by a third party. Does it disintegrate, or do you actually just poop out the tablets whole? And that actually does happen in some cases. So is it disintegrating? Is it soluble? Is it usable by your body? Does it become bioavailable? And what are the fillers? Because almost all nutrients have some form of fillers in them. In terms of ID Life, it's pharmaceutical grade, it's free of pesticides, herbicides, chemical contaminants. It has independent labs inspecting and certifying the ingredients. ID Life, interestingly, people didn't necessarily understand this. ID Life is not a supplement company. It does not make the supplements. It brings in raw ingredients from the very best of the best companies and then puts them together into your regime. So I think that that distance from creation of those raw ingredients actually makes it even higher quality. And they have random and also planned FDA inspections. So no supplements are FDA approved, but ID Life is FDA regulated. Supplements can come in natural versus synthetic. So in terms of some nutrients are come in the more natural form, and others need to come in a synthetic form in order to be absorbed by the body or to have some form of shelf life for us to be able to keep them and use them. But vitamin E in its natural form is absorbed better and safer, but you'll find all kinds of vitamin E on the shelves that's not necessarily in that natural form. And omega-3s, only 5% of competitors actually use the same fresh omega-3s or fish oils that ID Life does. So you have to make sure you're looking for the specific form of some nutrients. And then we already talked about fat versus water soluble. A, D, E, and K are fat soluble, meaning they can accumulate. They can become toxic. You want to make sure you're not getting too high of dosages. And different nutrients are absorbed in different ways. Water soluble, we said already, they're excreted in the urine. We have to make sure we're consuming them every day and replacing them every day. So that would be all the other nutrients besides A, D, E, and K, and also the heavy metals and some of the minerals. Omega-3s can make you burp or make you have that fishy smell, but like I said, with ID Life's omega-3s, which are EPA and DHA, which are the high quality fish oils, they're so fresh, and they're they're about 8 mixed tocopherols, so that you're getting that variability in the vitamin E, not just the synthetic one form of vitamin E. And therefore, they don't spoil and they don't cause that fishy aftertaste. So I think that's important for some people. And we talked about disintegration and independent laboratory oversight. And there's this thing called the FDA GRAS list, generally regarded as safe. When a substance is added to a food, it has to undergo a pre-market review and approval. And how does it get that approval? It gets that approval either by published scientific studies or by being what we call grandfathered in, meaning it had been used prior to 1958, didn't show any harm, had already been in extensive use when the FDA put these rules in place. And ID Life is on the FDA GRAS list, generally regarded as safe. My favorite thing, and probably the biggest factor that tipped me over to realize that ID Life was doing it differently, was the fact that instead of inactive fillers, they're using bioactive ingredients. And I read this book a long time ago, Anti-Cancer, A New Way of Life, and it's a beautiful book. You really should read it. We've done a book review of it, and it's a recorded book review as part of our Empowered Women Circle. So we dig into each chapter separately, and it's just a profound educational experience. But it highlights that there are certain antioxidants and certain nutrients that can be cancer preventative or preventative of cancer recurrence. Now, I'm not saying that ID Life is those things, but these antioxidants do have good studies: curcumin, quercetin, green tea extract, broccoli extract, turmeric. They're so anti-inflammatory, and they they reduce oxidative stress, they sop up free radicals, and ultimately prevent damage to the cells. And what ID Life does is it puts those bioactive fillers into its supplements so that even though you don't necessarily know you're getting them, you're getting them. And then you have to make sure that there's no adulterants in your supplements. Definitely none in ID Life, but being really cognizant if you're using any other from any other companies, that these are untested, they're potentially dangerous, and they're usually stimulants. So when people say, well, I take my supplements and I feel fantastic, a lot of times it's because they've got extra stimulants in there that are not necessarily safe. Now, I've given you a lot of information, little bit, I think a little bit overwhelming, like drinking from a fire hose. And so who has the time to figure all of this out? And especially for people like Dr. Cantera and myself in a busy practice, trying to make sure people get all the information that they need. Who has time? We probably don't have as much time to go through each of these nutrients. And that's why ID Life does that for us. So I want to wrap up with a couple of points and then again, go back to the web and share something briefly, and then we'll have time for questions. Really important that we remember, it is important what we put in our mouths, the food we eat, the targeted nutritional supplements we take, but it's not the only thing. And I think it behooves me to bring us back to this important conversation of overall wellness, mental, emotional, spiritual, relational, financial. All of it is part of the wellness wheel that augments our body's ability to respond to an insult and to step up in times of challenge like we're facing. So it helps immunity for us to have a daily relaxation practice. Only has to be 5 minutes. And there's proven science that if we drop into this relaxation response through prayer or meditation, Tai Chi, yoga, whatever it takes for us to just bring the sympathetic nervous system down and increase the parasympathetic nervous system and help our hormones and neurotransmitters go into the healing mode, it really is something we need to be doing every single day. Social interactions, although they're limited person to person right now, it's really vital that we continue to laugh, to joke, to talk on the phone, to have fun, to really interact with the people we love in some way. And I don't mean physical, but I mean to continue having those conversations. Maybe write some letters. We haven't done that in years. Sleep hygiene, we get most of our bodies healing while we're asleep. So really important for us to be having a good restorative sleep practice. Exercise, I said too much is not good, but there has to be some physical exercise and movement of our body, keep our circulation going. And I just encourage you to stay in touch with yourself. So this is a practice I do multiple times a day. What am I feeling and what do I need? Always asking myself, what am I feeling? Am I feeling stressed? Am I feeling overwhelmed? Am I feeling tired? And what do I need? Do I need rest? Do I need a hug? Do I need to write a letter? Do I need to walk away from my computer? You know, always, always, always staying in touch with ourselves, because that ultimately allows the physiology of our body to stay in the healing process. And seek resources if you need them. You must be reaching out for help. We are so distanced from each other that we can't read each other. We can't, your best friend can't necessarily know that he or she needs to call you. You need to be reaching out for the things that you need. And that is what keeps us in that empowered sense of self. I want you to know that as part of the Empowered Women Circle, we have a free online community. We are in connection and contact with each other all the time, and you can get there through ewcircle.com. We also have an up-leveled exclusive community where we get together. We are very focused on meeting specific physical health goals or specific mental, emotional wellness goals with each other. Those are called the diamonds. And if that's something you're interested in, have a look, because our membership is open and we're embarking on a whole new chapter with our current diamonds. So either way, come on board within our free circle so that we can stay in touch. We're an inclusive group extending love, support, and acceptance to anyone showing up. And let your light shine. This is where I want to return to you guys and take some more questions. But before I do that, I want to go one more time over to the internet just to show you one more thing that I was ready to show you earlier. So if you go to, again, the only website for the circle you need to remember is ewcircle.com. And if you go over here, what I wanted to show you was we have a place, if you are part of our circle, you can go find Jana here, and that's going to take you to Jana's ID Life resources. But what I wanted to show you before I turn over to more questions is that I am also willing to sit with you and review your ID Life wellness, your assessment, and your ID Life questions. And you can book that there after you've done your assessment on Jana's website. And we'll close with this, making sure that if you have pen and paper, you don't know how to get a hold of Jana, you can write that phone number down, or we'll also make sure we email you this website, trulyorganictx.com. And that way you know how to get a hold of Jana when you need her. So let's open back up to questions and the floor to Jana so that you can highlight any points or elaborate on anything you think that we need to hear.
Okay, so the buy one, share one, is that what it's called? Am I correct?
Yes.
Thumbs up on that one? Okay, so I'm awesome. So very interested in that, and I think that's going to help a lot of people. But also a question, is that through only the immunity packs? And I love this immunity pack idea. In fact, my husband, and Laura can vouch for this, my husband was sending out a text to everyone in the family probably a week ago saying, go get your vitamin D, your zinc, your C, like,
yeah,
start building this. So this whole immunity pack, I love.
Yeah.
So is that the only thing that's a part of the buy one, gift one, or is it?
I think it is. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, Dr. Cantera can correct me if need be, but it's because of the literature that's been reviewed. The SciMed board at ID Life tries to keep on top, keeps on top of the literature at all times. And the studies which are showing that we need those nutrients at this important time. We need them all the time, but at this important time, there's a lot of people who need quick access to those nutrients to get them in their body and start optimizing their immune system. And ID Life wanted to make that quickly available.
Yes, and this is crazy because we're a part of ID Life, and we're taking the supplements. I do not even know why, because you all know I do not think outside the box. Like, unless something's put in front of me, we all ran to the pharmacy, Walgreens and CVS, to pick up these supplements when we're a part of ID Life, and we should have just gone there directly. So right. Of course, that's where we're going to get the quality supplements. So, all right.
Yeah. Very, very good point. And I think you raised a good point there, Jana, in that we're human beings, and we don't necessarily know what we don't know, and we don't necessarily do the perfect thing all the time. We just want to do what's best, and we're always trying our best. So you're not the only one, that went that route. And I think what's really important and why we're having this conversation is just to show you that there's a better option, that it is only one of the options, but for all of the reasons we've talked about, It's one that I know, love, and trust. It's one that Dr. Cantera knows, loves, and trusts. And anybody that is involved in ID Life knows that their heart is in the right place, and they're doing everything they can to make available to people what they need at this point. And I just want to be really clear that everyone's customized, personalized regime already has these things in it. It's for the people that are not currently taking their personalized regime with ID Life that can quickly utilize the immune pack. Hamid, did you want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and we run into that often where people think Walgreens and CVS and all this is the best route, because when we're in a panic mode, we forget which direction to go. And I often tell my patients, when I recommend something to my patient, I'm literally attaching my license to it. It isn't that, hey, just go. If I tell someone to drink water and they choke on the water, I'm liable because I have a license with it. You go to Walgreens and slip on a banana, chances are they're not liable to it because, there's a time factor that has to go by before they're liable. Oftentimes patients forget that when we recommend, as Dr. Hansen was saying earlier, we spend a lot of time making sure that what we're going to recommend to people, one, it's going to work, and two, that's how we make a living. It's eventually by credibility and ethics and referral. And I'm glad, Dr. Hansen, you brought that up, because the most expensive part of that bottle, when you buy it off the shelf, it's actually the top cap that you have to turn and twist, kind of like you have to twist it and open because somebody patented it. And yes, our markup is 100%. So oftentimes you go buy those things and they don't really function to you personally. Now, the immune pack, to go back to it, I was calculating it for someone earlier. It's so incredibly inexpensive. So when you think of someone signs up for the VIP and then you get the buy one, get one, you're looking at the end of the cart, $59 for two people to get pharmaceutical grade vitamin. And here's why the immune pack kicks in is when someone just cannot afford to take the health assessment and spend $80, $90, $100, then that is a go-to for right now. Obviously, if you're on the ID nutrition, that's going to give you a much more benefit to your body and strengthen your immune system in so many factors. But for those who are limited on budget, they can go to the buy one, get one. And obviously, for most people who have, two sets of parents or siblings or two kids, that buy one, get one with the VIP end up being $59. I mean, that's honestly, that's a freebie. So if someone has not already been on any of the vitamins or someone you're trying to help get on there, just set them up with the VIP, get them to buy one, get one, and that's $59. That's nothing. I mean, you can't even have dinner with $59 for two anymore. So.
Yeah, and you don't have to go to CVS or Walgreens or the grocery store around everyone else. And Laura, you're thinking the same thing I am thinking right now. Like, we could have had this mailed to our house.
Here's what I wanted to say, and you guys could Google it under image. We often, because I do a lot of x-rays and the low back pain that people come in or injuries, oftentimes we find those vitamins that people say they're the best in the market. We find them going down the intestine all the way to the toilet seat because they're not being dissolved. And Dr. Hansen, you touched on that earlier about what may be in there. And I had a patient one time, and she worked at Walmart, and she said she'd take the best vitamins ever. And I go, please tell me you're not buying them from Walmart. And she's like, hell no, I get mine from Sam's Club. So it's one of those moments where I give up. But sometimes confirmation bias kicks in when somebody buys vitamins off the shelf from a store or whatever. The fact they spend that money makes them feel attached to it. And it's hard to go back and go, yeah, maybe I'm not taking the best vitamins. So I've learned to tell people who are already taking those, just put it in your medicine cabinet for a month, give our ID Life product a chance. And then if you don't like them, go back to what you have. And I've yet to see anyone go back to their old vitamins after they tried what we give them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, to Jana for the request, for the opportunity to serve you and to serve your clientele, and in doing so, to get this education out to a whole lot more people. And I'm not sure if I also said with ID Life, you're also helping the Empowered Women's Circle. It's part of the structure and part of the sustainability of our circle for us, for things that we need anyways, as we've heard you all say. You know you need it, you know it's going to help your body, you know there's no better place to get it, and if you need those things anyways, it also creates sustainability for us at our Empowered Women's Circle. And so we're really, really grateful. It's been really wonderful to spend this time with you and with your audience, and I look forward to doing it again sometime. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Very informative.
Awesome.
And super excited.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.